Patient Access News Special Video Edition. Ethnic groups. Preferred language spoken, race, and ethnicity are currently being collected and documented within Cerner as part of the Meaningful Use initiative. The ethnicity fields 1, 2, and 3 have been replaced with an ethnic groups collection field. This field allows the documentation of multiple ethnicities and has the same functionality as the race collection field. As part of this change, the ethnic groups collection field now auto-populates with the selections made previously in the ethnicity 1, ethnicity 2, and the ethnicity 3 fields. Additionally, the View Person and View Encounter conversation will display the previous ethnicity fields on patients who were encountered prior to this change. May approach for research. This is a required field in the MRN banner level within all conversations, with the exception of the research pre-reg and registration conversation. This question must be asked of every patient for every encounter. As a teaching hospital, Stony Brook Medicine is eligible for funded research grants, in part based on the answer to this question. So what might be a simple question to you could cost Stony Brook Medicine millions of dollars in funding. Let's take a look at the scripting and subsequent documentation of this question.
Are you open to speaking to someone about research studies? Sure. Okay, thank you so much.
When a patient agrees to the research question, you would click the drop-down under May Approach for Research and click Yes.
Are you open to speaking to someone about research studies?
No, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much.
If the patient does not agree to the research question, you would click the drop-down under May Approach for Research and select No, confirmed by patient. You would only select Unable to obtain if you are not able to get the answer from the patient. Patient pharmacy. Due to New York State law, all prescriptions within Stony Brook Medicine are submitted for fulfillment electronically. It is imperative that registrars obtain this information. This requires the staff to enter the patient's pharmacy information through either PowerChart or FirstNet, depending on where the patient is being seen. Let's take a look at the scripting and subsequent documentation of this question.
I need to document your current pharmacy. Can you please tell me the name and address of your retail pharmacy?
Sure, it's Walgreens on Middle Country Road in Smithtown.
Thank you. And also, if you use a mail-away pharmacy, can you please document that information as well?
Sure, it's CVS Caremark.
Perfect.
Since this was an ED patient, the pharmacy information will be added in FirstNet. Select your patient, and then click Patient Pharmacy. Enter in the information the patient gave you, and click Search. Any pharmacies that match the information you input will appear. Locate the correct one, right-click, and select Add to Patient Preferred. If you click the Patient Preferred tab, you will see that the pharmacy is now listed. This patient also wanted to list a mail-in pharmacy. We need to enter that separately. Go back to the Search tab and change the radio button at the bottom to where it says Mail Order. Enter in the information that the patient gave you and click Search. Again, when the correct pharmacy appears, right-click and Add to Patient Preferred. Again, if you click Patient Preferred, you will see now that both pharmacies are listed. When you are complete, click OK. If this were a patient outside of the ED, the staff would need to use PowerChart to enter the pharmacy information. You would enter PowerChart and pull up the patient, and then click Patient Pharmacy. From here, you would enter in the information just as you did in FirstNet. CPEP OBS. Patients will no longer be considered inpatient while in observation status while in the CPEP department. A new patient type and medical service has been added to accommodate patients who have been placed on observation status while in CPEP. Once the observation order has been received by bed control, the bed control staff will change the patient type to observation ED and the medical service to CPEP observation, also known as COB. In addition, bed control must update the assigned to location date and assigned to location time fields to match the observation order date and time. Signatures for regulatory documents. There are 4 fields related to regulatory documents that must be completed: NPP receipt, NPP date, e-signatures obtained, and date e-sig last obtained all must be completed. As a reminder, the Notice of Privacy Practice is given once per lifetime, with the exception of anyone under the age of 18. If this document is given to a patient under the age of 18, it must be given again when the patient reaches the age of 18. Once the NPP is given, the NPP receipt field must be changed to yes, and the NPP date should reflect the date given. Once this is completed, it will auto-populate for any encounters generated thereafter. The registrar should not touch this field once it is complete. E-signatures obtained should be used for electronic consents. This field must be updated whenever an electronic consent is signed by the patient. When no is selected, it will appear on a work list for follow-up. This field should never be left blank. The date e-sig last obtained field should reflect the date the consent was obtained. Birth and administrative sex fields. The sex field has a new title, Administrative Sex, and a new field has been added titled Birth Sex. The administrative sex field will remain a mandatory field and will be documented in the same manner as the previous Cerner field that was titled Sex. The birth sex field currently is not a required field. The birth sex field can only be changed by the patient access staff when requested by the clinical staff, such as a physician. As part of the implementation process for these changes, if the administrative field is documented only as male or female, the birth sex field will auto-populate accordingly. If the administrative sex field is documented as unknown or unspecified, the birth sex field will remain blank. If the administrative sex field is updated as male or female, upon completing the registration, the birth sex field will auto-populate accordingly. Additionally, a new conversation has been added and is labeled as Admin Birth Sex Update. This conversation requires an encounter to be selected in order to modify the administrative sex field and/or birth sex field. This conversation is located in PowerChart for the clinical staff to use as well.